Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Gamer Social Club weekly news podcast. We are recording on Thursday, the 27th of November, 2025. And in this quieter week for news, we are actually going to be reminiscing on the 20th anniversary of the Xbox 360. So we're going to be looking back over our sort of favorite memories, some of our favorite games that highlight that era for us, that generation, and maybe some other things here and there, like games that haven't yet been made backwards compatible, so they're still stuck back on that machine that we love so dearly. But yeah, before we get into that, I'm your host, as always, Harry, aka Neighbours Crayfish. Joining me this week, I have no empathy, only daggers. It's Lady V. How are you doing, B?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Good to be back on the pod as I missed the last one. And maybe the one before. I can't really remember, actually. All the weeks are starting to merge together towards the end of the year.
It's a tough time, yeah. Things are slowing down, but also picking up at the same time with Christmas and everything. Yeah, absolutely. And of course, to round out the team today, we've got our very own Steam Deck verified Mark, aka We Awoke in the Hive. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm really good, thanks, Harry. It's been an emotional week reminiscing on 20 years of my favorite ever console. I'm going to get deep into that today. So that's made me feel like a complete dinosaur. But looking forward to chatting a lot more about it as we get through the podcast. But yeah, doing really well, thank you.
Absolutely, yeah. No, you've been the leader of the choir on this one, definitely for the last week or so. You've been writing up some great pieces, which we're going to obviously mention later on as well. And yeah, you'll lead proceedings when we get to that, to our main topic for this week's episode. But yeah, if you're new here, then of course welcome, and if you are a returning viewer or listener, then good to see you again. We are, of course, some of the members of the Gamer Social Club website that covers gaming with news, reviews, previews, editorials, guides, interviews, and anything else we can think of over at www.gamersocialclub.ca. We are a sort of independent, ragtag bunch that are, doing this off our own back and want to share that with all of you. The three things you need to know about us are: one, as I said, we are a grassroots independent site. So, of course, anything you get from us is just based off of our own passion for the game. I want to share that with all of you. Secondly, any news you get from us, is run through a rumor-free filter. So we do not go via sort of Reddit sources or social media gossip. Anything you get from us via the news is all factual, and we keep up to date as best we can as these stories progress. And third and finally, any game that we review, we have finished, or we have done as much as we can. If we can't, roll credits, we will play it as much as possible before sharing our thoughts and our review and our score with you on that game. So you can be sure that we have seen as much of it as humanly possible before sharing that with all of you. Um, the next thing to know is, of course, that we have our own Discord. You should come over and join us there. You'll find the link for that below. It is slowly growing, and it's a really nice little, kind of quiet community of gamers who just like to chat a little bit here and there. We drop all of our articles as well there for you to check out as soon as we post them, as well as doing community game nights and stuff like that. So we'll probably try and get a few more of those in before Christmas when everyone goes on break. And of course, right now we know that our American friends are enjoying Thanksgiving as we are currently recording this. So happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Um, Next up on the rigmarole, we have, of course, our socials. Come and follow us over on social media for the Gamer Social Club proper. You can follow us on Twitter or X at gamer_s_c. Everywhere else, just look up Gamer Social Club. You'll find us there on Blue Sky, Threads, Facebook, all that sort of stuff. Um, all of this, as I said, you can find below alongside our own personal social media accounts and stuff like that if you want to follow us. And you can find all of the articles that we might mention today as well below, because we'll be mentioning, as I said earlier, Mark's three Xbox 360 20th anniversary articles, alongside maybe some of our reviews, some of the news articles we've written. But for all of that, again, please go and check out the site for all of our work that we do out every week, covering most of the news that comes out anyway. And of course, yeah, if you like today's episode, please leave a like. If you would like to give us some feedback or share your thoughts on something, or just maybe a correction of some sort, drop it in the comments below. And if you'd like to see more content like this and our sister pod, Girl Pod, which has Lady V as well as Candy as hosts, then please come and subscribe to the channel, and you'll get more of this as it comes out every week. Yeah, I think that's the rigmarole out the way. I hope I haven't forgotten anything. I try not to. I've got it all posted up now on a little document here for myself, so I don't forget. That's why I keep looking. But yeah, with that, we'll move into our first segment, which of course is what what we've been playing. Billy screwed it up there, but yeah. Does anybody want to start off with this one? I've got one, but it's a game that I've been playing for a bit. So again, it's not high on the turn order. Anybody got anything that we haven't mentioned in a previous episode yet, by any chance?
I've been playing a couple of things. One of those is something we spoke at detail, at length on the podcast. That's Keeper. So I've finished that over the last week and had a great
Nice.
time. And I know that you and Andy, who's normally on the show, really enjoyed that one, Harry. So it was a great time. I cannot believe that game has not been up for some awards at the Game Awards, particularly around art style and art direction. But
Yeah.
what a stunning game. Um, I know that in our Discord chat around the review, there was lots of discussion around how you write a review for the game without talking about spoilers. And I
Hmm.
think it'd be difficult for me to talk about the game without giving spoilers. So
Yeah.
that's a very hot topic on the reviews for the game. But for those that have played it, when I talk about the last third of the game being absolutely spectacular, visually, mechanically, um, it's just a great time. So if you are playing the game, please look forward to the final third. It's really good fun and a visual treat. But something else I've been playing this week, which has just recently come out, is the free DLC for Assassin's Creed Mirage, the Valley of Memories. It's an entirely free DLC pack, which is based in a region of modern day Saudi Arabia called Alula, and it takes us on an adventure to see Basim, the protagonist from the main game in Baghdad, to see his father. Well, try and find his father, I should say. So about 6 to 8 hour DLC pack. I finished the main core campaign earlier today, and it's a really good time. Really, adds value to the story, which I think a lot of DLCs fail to do. Um, the gameplay very much more of the same of Mirage, which didn't outstay its welcome, which is unusual for modern Assassin's Creed games, which certainly do outstay their welcome. Looking at you, Valhalla. But yeah, it's been a really great piece of DLC. Not going to cost anyone anything. Mirage is also on Game Pass and also PlayStation Plus at the moment, so there's
Hmm.
something in there for subscription players just to tag on to the end of a Mirage journey. But yeah, I'm really glad what they did. It was
Nice.
really unexpected. You expected Ubisoft to be throwing everything at Shadows with post-launch support, which, to be honest, to be fair to them, they haven't milked financially yet. They've been given a lot of free updates for that too. But when they announced something free for Mirage, I think that was unexpected. And it's one of the more popular modern Assassin's Creed games. And I had a really good time. I love the base game. Rather enjoyed this DLC. Totally worth 5 6 hours. I'm going to go for the achievements for the rest of the challenges, etc. But yeah, if you enjoyed Mirage, get stuck in. It's totally worth your time. And yeah, my favorite of the last 3 4 Assassin's Creeds was it was good to get some more of that. So yeah, that's what
Nice.
I've been playing the last couple of weeks.
That's very cool. Yeah, yeah. Again, I think either today or yesterday, I saw a headline about Assassin's Creed Shadows not getting a second DLC, which apparently, which is like a rarity for Ubisoft to obviously not do more than one, I guess. Um, yeah, because I remember with Odyssey, I had um, I got the gold edition at some point on sale, and I had at least two. I remember trying to do this with you, Lady V, at one point one evening. We were trying to remember the names of all the different DLCs for Assassin's Creed Odyssey, um,
Oh
like
yeah,
Fates of
there's so many.
Atlantis and stuff like that. Yeah, there was
Yeah.
quite a few. I think maybe 2 or 3 at least. And so yeah, so that was to hear the Shadows only getting the one, which it already has, was interesting to see. But yeah, cool. I'm glad to hear you enjoyed that, man. And yeah, Mirage I know was a small, going back to that smaller scale kind of Assassin's Creed game, which does sound more appealing to me. Um, Even as somebody who, from the beginning, like a lot of the fan base, was crying out for that Japan-based Assassin's Creed game. Um, I know it's another big one, and I'm playing Ghost of Yotei right now. So I'm kind of like, I don't need to get into Shadows, I think, right now. Maybe give it until next year to pick it up. But Mirage might happen sooner, especially if it's on Game Pass and stuff already. So yeah, I'll I'll take your advice. But yeah, Lady V, what have you been playing?
I have been playing, well, the first thing that I've been playing is a demo actually, because the game's not out yet. But for a Penny Falls, I don't know, I assume it's probably not called that in the US, so like a coin pusher game called Raccoin. So it's like another gambling roguelike along the lines of like a Clover Pit and stuff like that. I don't know if I put it in the same vein as a Balatro. I think some people are like compare a lot of gambling roguelikes to Balatro, but Balatro is like for me just almost like strictly a deck builder. Um, it's much more aligned with a Slay the Spire in terms of gameplay than something like a Luck Be a Landlord or Clover Pit. Um, but this one is gambling roguelike. You upgrade, well, you get special coins and stuff that you can just fire into the machine. And basically the whole thing is you're trying to get enough coins to get into the next level. And it is unfeasibly addictive. It is ridiculously addictive. I have to like, so as context, I love a penny falls machine. Like, so when I was younger, my gran, who used to watch us all the time when we were younger, because both my mum and dad worked full time, she loves a gamble. Like she absolutely, like a lot of people in Scotland actually. This, I don't know if this is a known stereotype about the Scots, but a lot of us love a gamble. Um, but she absolutely loves a gamble. And there was like little, like almost like puggy arcades, in the town that she lived near that we would go into at the weekend. So there's certain bits of it obviously that kids weren't allowed in because it's the actual puggies. Um, so you wouldn't be allowed to go in there, but you could go into like the front bits where they had like the claw machines and they had the penny pushers and like some of the other little games, like a bit like what you might find in a bowling alley. So potentially a time crisis if it was fancy.
Oh yeah.
Um, but she loved the penny falls, and then she taught us all the best strats on the penny falls. So anytime I went on holiday, we used to go to a caravan park, and there was an arcade in the bowling alley, and everyone would go and like do bowling and stuff. And I'm like, nah, got like a bag of 2 pence pieces that I've converted from all my pocket money saved over the year, and I'm gonna win all the toys out of the penny falls machine. Like,
Nice.
so, I love it. So there's a big bit of nostalgia for it as well, especially because it was time that I spent with my gran. But there's also just the fact that it's just so addictive. He's like, you could like just the fact that you get so many like little random power ups, and it does all the flashy lights and stuff that you would expect from a puggy, actually, not even just necessarily a video game, but like almost like the Vampire Survivor thing. It's just like every so often there's just like, wait, ding, 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 oh, something is happening, and then like it fills up the machine
Combo.
with like
Yeah.
coins, or like there's like a tower of coins is built, and then it pushes itself forward, and then you get like 600 coins at once, and you're like, yay! Like, I want this is why people like gambling. It's like the chase for that big win that is now being fulfilled to me via video games. So yes, I've been playing that probably too much actually, considering it's just a demo and there's not a huge amount of gameplay to it. I think a wider conversation could be had about some modern. Well, there's a bigger conversation to have about roguelikes, but we're not going to have that on this pod. That's for a different pod, where we can have our thoughts. But I think there's a wider conversation to have about gambling roguelikes and balancing, because for me, like Balatro is a very well balanced game. You don't necessarily have to be amazing at it to get successful runs, and it gives you that sense of achievement sort of a thing. And it took me a little while to understand some of the mechanics and the more RNG based stuff of things like Luck Be a Landlord. But once you understand it, and you know because of the way it's more gambling based, that it's sometimes you might just never get a successful run, but you're going to know that within about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you can just restart. But I found something quite similar with Clover Pit, as I'm finding with Raccoin, in that there are definitely synergies there, but they feel a little a little bit more niche or more RNG based to get than something like a bilateral where you can be a little bit more dynamic midway through your run and sort of pivot. So like if you're not setting up for the synergies that you think you might get at the start of the game, then you're probably going to struggle, and then you'll get sort of midway up and just fail. And again, I get it, that's a feature of a roguelike, but at the same time, it can mean that you fall off it very quickly. So I've not fallen off for coin yet, but um, something like Clover Pit, which I did really enjoy. There was a big like gap between when it released and then when I went back to it, where I just felt like I couldn't do anything. And again, people who are really, really into it might be like, "Oh, that's a bit of a skill issue." But the whole thing with these types of games is they're trying to capture like a very wide audience, and if you don't capture that audience quite quickly, the same way as like a Balatro or something like that, then they're going to fall off and you're going to lose that word of mouth. Like I saw quite a lot of people streaming Clover Pit and they did very good runs, but presumably there was a load of failed runs in there. And if your audience is watching that and they're saying like, oh, well, this seems too RNG, then you might then sort of fall off. And I think that also goes hand in hand with like the fact that even people who are fans of roguelikes like myself are getting a little bit like, oh really, does another roguelike? Like, do we need to do this again? So yeah, I think it's a good game. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Um, but I'd be interested to see how they manage some of what I think would potentially be like balancing issues um, after the demo comes out. Because I think mastery of a roguelike should be for the players that can see all those synergies like really like right off the bat. But if you're trying to capture a casual audience, you shouldn't be going like 20, 30 runs where you get halfway through and it just seems like there's nothing you can do because it's not combat based. It's not like a Hades. It's not you can just get better at the combat and don't get hit. It's just like, oh well, I don't like the spike on this is too high and I can't do it. Like, and I'm gonna just probably not play it. Like, yeah. But that's what I've been playing. It's been fun.
Good. Well, no, it does. I watched you obviously when you shared your screen, and I was watching it, and I was like, yeah, I can see absolutely why. I grew up enjoying the Penny Falls machines as well. My mum did the same with me, showing me all the best tricks and tips for it. Maybe that's why I'm a guides editor now. But yeah, definitely looks like it would be something that'd be fun to pick up. But again, yeah, not necessarily something that's going to keep me for maybe more than a week, if that.
Yeah.
I've learned that with games like that, though, smaller games I feel like have that run-based, element to them. They're great as that side game. Like I'm still playing Ball Pit right now. Every now and then, a couple of runs, still ticking ahead, moving my way deeper into the pit, not up. But yeah, maybe that's the sort of thing it could fill once I've done with Ball Pit. You know. But what I've been playing is a game I have mentioned before, at least a couple of times I think, called Davy X Jones, which again, if you've missed previous episodes, is a first-person pirate-themed action adventure game from a studio called Parasite. I'm a big fan of their previous title, again called Blacktail, and this is more of their same kind of amazingly creative and kind of chaotic energy. It very much feels like, I think we mentioned before, and it kind of is nicely going to sort of segue into our next conversation, because it's very much the sort of game I would say has that kind of PS3 360 energy of being kind of over the top, really like outlandish, really some bold personality, and has the sort of FU attitude that it can it pulls it off. There's a lot of crazy stuff thrown at you in this game. You are playing as the eponymous Davy Jones, but there's a reason why there's an X in between those two things because you have been beheaded by your sort of rival Blackbeard when you were living. You are now in the locker of Davy Jones's locker, i.e. Pirate Underworld, and so you walk around as the headless Jones, and you then have Davy the Skull who floats around next to you, and he's sort of wisecracking, chatting away, whilst you walk around wielding your cutlass and sort of gun, and fight through the denizens of the locker, traveling across the 9 islands, which are spread across the sea of clouds, of which you then get to travel between on your half warship, half sort of Leviathan whale creature called Abby, and the rest of your motley crew that you would collect on along the way, as you as I said, fight off all the denizens, trying to get revenge back on Blackbeard and your mutinous crew, your plundering crypts, your going on quests, and most recently, in fact, on Tuesday, I think it was the 25th, there was a huge update for the game called the Kraken Hunt update, which introduces a whole other almost half of the game to kind of make it a whole. Finally, it's all been in early access, and it still is currently, and that introduces sky hunts, which is third-person sky battles where you control Abby, your ship, as you fight other vessels and go and eventually fight a huge kraken creature in the sky. You're basically flying your ship through the sky, firing your cannons from either port or starboard, and having to turn your ship when you run out to then let them reload and then use the other side for another broadside. You unlock new weapons and abilities through gathering new members of your crew and then upgrading them. And again, these sky hunts are roguelite runs, which would culminate in you fighting the Kraken, this huge tentacled giant eye in the sky, basically. And all the rewards you get from that feed into like permanent upgrades for Davy and Jones when you're in the first-person mode, and in the first-person mode you get stuff that helps out through doing quests for your ship by getting new crew members that you can recruit and stuff like that. So it's now got this brilliant cohesive kind of like figure eight going between the two different gameplay styles, and I've been getting deep into more of the content that's been added to the sort of the main game of like the first-person adventure side, but also getting to grips with the third-person sky ship battle kind of hunt combat. I'm rubbish at it. It's very hard to get used to, but again, it's really, really interesting, and I'm really enjoying it. And hopefully, by the time this goes out, my Q&A article with the creative director of the game will be up on the site. If not, it will be out shortly afterwards. And hopefully there'll be some more stuff from us. I will definitely have an impressions article up for the game soon, so you can learn more about it there. And we'll see what else comes up. I'm going to be playing this probably, for the foreseeable future. Honestly, I am really, really enjoying this game. I knew I was going to have a lot of fun with it in the first place, but with what they've done with it already in just the first few months with this game in early access, I'm super impressed. And if by I've only done a couple of sky hunts, but if after a few more hours I'm still enjoying them, I still want to keep enjoying that loop, then hell, this could be a late entry into my top 10. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. It's been that much fun. I've really, really enjoyed this, and it was a fun little surprise. That's what I've been playing. Right. If everybody's cool, let's move on into the main topic of conversation, which is going to be us talking about the 20th anniversary of the 360 and I guess, our time with the console, our memories and things like that. So I will hand over, of course, to our Master of Ceremonies for this section, which is Mark. Take it away.
Thanks, Harry. And like I said at the start of the show, I'm really sentimental for the Xbox 360. It gives me so many memories, so many fun times. I have so many real life friends, many who even came along to my wedding who I made through Xbox 360. And awesome. It's not just those friends, it's the friends that are kind of cemented because of gaming. And if it wasn't for the 360, and I have so many friends that live in different parts of the country, we just wouldn't really be in touch anymore. So, it's a big part of my life. Anyway, that's enough of my sentimental side. But Yeah, for the 360's 20th anniversary, I really spent quite a lot of time writing some editorial pieces for the website around some what I think are really three core things of the 360. The first one I touched on last week on the podcast, but perhaps can go into more detail now, and that was around the launch lineup of games. So I wrote a piece around what I thought were the seven of the best launch lineup games, and to be honest, just to have seven quality games is one thing, but seven that are worth writing about, I think, says a lot about what the 360 had on launch day in 2005. So and some of these games, guys, you may have some memories for as well. But in that list, we had Condemned, Criminal Origins, which recently got delisted, which is really sad. But hopefully that means they're going to bring it back to modern platforms. But that was a super cool horror game, really
Yeah,
quite terrifying for its time. So that was a really good horror game.
that was the one that stuck out to
So,
me
so
on that list. That was the one I was like, oh man, Nev was a big deal. So I remember that and like Manhunt. I think that was earlier, maybe, but yeah, those sort of games,
mhm.
like that visceral, really dark, like like ultra violent sort of stuff was at that time like peak, but also like man, wouldn't fly today probably.
No, like caving heads in with lead pipes just kind of seems a little bit kind of too much these days. Like it feels like we kind of like step back from some of that extreme brutal horror.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, that was a great time. Um, and a few other games on the list here. So PGR 3, I think was one that you had a good time with V when that was
Yeah.
around. So what an awesome racing game, and I think that just kind of took simulation racing and kind of applied it to a semi-arcadey kind of style. Whereas I think a lot of people who enjoy racing games but get a bit bored of track lap racing can get a little bit mundane, a bit boring. But PGR give that simulation style, but gave it a kind of like a in light bites, but in like really cool fun way. Great cars, great tracks. But I know that was one you liked as well, the PGR 3.
Yeah. I was a big fan. I got that very soon after launch, I think. And I hadn't really played many racing games apart from Mario Kart growing up. So I was like, no, this is so much fun. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a great game. Like, mm.
I have really good memories of. I don't know if you played it. There was a game mode on there that wasn't at launch. It was patched in a bit later on, called Cat and Mouse. And
Oh.
Cat and Mouse was you had two teams, and each team had one cat and five mice. And well,
my
that's
old
mouse.
Mises.
five Mises,
Oh dear,
five
that's grammar
mouses.
school. Uh, and what the objective was the mice had to get their cat to the finish line before the other team, and so the five mice were trying to ram off this big tank truck, something that the other team had, or the big tank thing was really quite slow, so the five mice were trying to like push it along and get it to the end quicker. But it ended up playing like a game of Carmageddon, but it was just so much fun. And in those early days of Xbox Live Chat, there was hell of a lot of trash talking around that and plenty of profanity. It was a proper rage-inducing game mode, but yeah, like that's one thing that really comes back to me with PGR3, and it had a great sequel in 4, but then the developers Bizarre Creations, if I'm going to remember that correctly,
Mm.
went bump in kind of the early 2010s, and sadly that was the end of the series. But great franchise. Sadly gone away now. Um, there's several other games on the list. So Perfect Dark Zero, great shooter. What happened to Perfect Dark
Mm.
in modern times is well documented. That's gone away for good now, and for a series that lived 25 plus years and it only had 2 entries, it's dead. It's gone.
Yeah.
But Perfect Dark Zero was a good time. Tried to do a lot of cool, unique things. With some multiplayer was a little bit average, but for a 360 launch game it was acceptable. But big 32 player online battles. The laptop gun which featured in Perfect Dark 1 came back in Perfect Dark 0 and was the bane of everyone's of everyone's life in multiplayer. but that was a good time. So lots of good game modes there. Um, a couple of others that I'll pick out on the list. First is Amped 3, and we've been talking a lot about Amped 3 on the Discord and behind the scenes of Gamer Social Club about this one over the last couple of weeks. And man, what a game! Over
So good.
300 music tracks. What game has over 300 music tracks apart from Rock Band? It's insane.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Mm. It was so good. Like that was one of the first games I got for my Xbox 360, and I was so close to getting the 100% in it. But when you mentioned the patched in game mode in PGR3, so I didn't have Xbox Live. I didn't have my console connected up to the internet for like the first maybe year and a half that I had it, and I recovered my gamer tag at my friend's house to play something. And because it hadn't been connected to the internet, it wiped all of the achievements off my gamer card. But because the flags had already been like done for them, there was no way to unlock them again on my Xbox without wiping all of the save data for all of the games that I had. And I was just like unwilling. So I have more achievements in the original Mass Effect on the original Xbox 360 than it would look like if you actually went back and clicked on it. I played so much of that game. But yeah, Amp 3 was so good. I think the only thing I didn't have was getting a gold on every single of the events. But nah, what a soundtrack. And gave me a new fear to be afraid of, which is sand sharks. Because I was like, what is this? This is unacceptable behaviour. Like, it was just so wacky and so amazing. Loved it.
Is that literally what I think it is?
Yeah, they're just sharks that live in the sand.
Great. Cool. And actually, I'll say as well, just before you move on, Mark, because you must get onto the list, but like that mode, the cat and mouse mode, that's not what I thought it was going to be with that name. That's not what I think of. When I think of cat and mouse, I assume one chasing a bunch of other ones, not the little ones push the big one.
It might attack the cat.
Yeah, I'm like, we could workshop this surely. This wasn't. Oh dear. Sorry. Anyway.
When I was taking the trip down memory lane to put the article together, I YouTubed the cat and mouse game mode, and there are some rather funny clips of the game online. So if you ever did want to go and have a look at that, just to rekindle some old memories, there is some footage online. You can probably get lobbies actually if you went around the True Achievement community and tried to get some game nights together. But yeah, that was hilarious. But yeah, kind of AM3, yeah, what a game, well ahead of its time, and in terms of kind of extreme sports, it really took it up a notch. But sadly, the series again, I think there's a kind of a theme here. Great launch lineup, but actually killed the series off. So
wow,
that's not the angle.
Oh no, the curse of the Xbox 360 launch lineup.
Are any
I
of them
really
left?
thought about it as a Reaper. Sorry?
Are any of them left? Any of the launch ones?
Well, I'm just thinking about killing series. There's not been a new Quake since Quake 4, which was also a launch, which I also had, which was very fun. Again, I wasn't a massive first-person shooter, but it was just like I got my Xbox 360 on launch day, and it didn't have a hard drive. So it was the arcade model. And then because my dad didn't realise that you needed a way to save in order to play games on it, so my mum had to take me up to, because you couldn't even do anything on Xbox Live Arcade. It was like, okay, you can hook it up to the internet to get everything set up, but we only had dial-up, so she was like, it's not being hooked up to the internet all the time, don't be absurd. But she took me up to game at the fort, and it was like, bought a memory card. We didn't even get a hard drive, bought a memory card for it. And Amp 3 and Quake 4 for my launch titles. But yeah, they've not made a Quake since either.
Oh no.
Remastered some of the old ones, but not Quake 4 is the last official release in the. Oh no.
This is not good.
When I was putting this article together, I never realized how much of a Reaper it was of series. Oh dear. But one franchise it certainly didn't kill is Call of Duty, and Call of Duty
No.
2, absolutely my favorite launch game, and honestly, changed kind of my like gaming forever for me. Um, I love the series. I talk about it all the time on the podcast. I'm one of those dirty casuals that plays COD nearly every year. But yeah, COD 2, it was special, and I didn't play the original. I played one called Finest Hour, which was kind of like a 1.5 on PlayStation 2. So never fully played the original Call of Duty, but what this did for kind of modern shooter controls with left trigger aiming, kind of right bumper for grenades, it basically it set the basis for modern shooter controls. But the an amazing campaign, like based across. You played as the Russians, you played as the Soviets, you played as the Americans, you played as the Brits across all different theatres of World War II. The Normandy landings, the kind of storming the Reichstag. It was all in there. It was a really good, all-encompassing World War II campaign, and it looked really really special for its time as well. Some of the like smoke effects back in 2005 that you just hadn't seen before. It was brilliant. But as we Call of Duty, the campaign is kind of like a side hustle to the to the online experience, and the memories that I have of that game online, Call of Duty 2, just basically set me up to play Xbox forever, I think. Some of the finest multiplayer maps that have ever been created. For one called Karantan, which was remade as a name I can't remember in Call of Duty 4. But it is generally, I think, one of the best, functionally one of the best multiplayer maps ever made in any shooter ever. There's some amazing DLC packs to the maps too. The community was really strong. I was part of MLG Game Battles communities back in the day, which makes me feel like a real loser now looking back at it. But that was
I think I remember seeing
that
that
was kind
tag probably in Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Was it like the MLG in the brackets at the beginning of people's names? I think I remember seeing that.
I was absolutely one of those. I was, and yeah, shame, pure shame. MLG Gamer Pictures, the lot, but man, if I could go back and because it is backwards compatible, if I could play that game with active lobbies instead of most of the shooters every night, I'd still go back and play that several times a week. It is just so good, and it holds up incredibly well. You can play it on, like I say, backwards compatibility. It's available like digitally as well in the Xbox Store. But yeah, what a game and I think that kind of just cements what an incredible launch lineup this console had, and you know, there were so many games that I didn't talk about in this article as well. And yeah, just what a launch lineup, and it just set up everything that the console was going to be. So great for racing games, great for shooters, great for mature games. And I think the 360 was just kind of a console that was happy to take risks. And I think this launch lineup was kind of setting the bar for the risks it was going to take. And yeah, just man, what a launch lineup! I don't think it's ever going to be matched, to be honest with you. Particularly when you look at modern console releases, which are just cross-gen launches or re-releases, remasters. This was all nearly all new games and all that were pretty special. So, but yeah, were there any games from the 360 kind of launch era that you guys can remember quite fondly, other
Definitely,
than ones
yeah.
we spoke about?
Yeah, for me, another big one, again, I can't remember if it was actually like day one launch or in the window of, but one of the big things I remember being such a big deal for Xbox was the fact that they bridged the gap from like bringing what were normally like PC only franchises to the console market with obviously big ones like Bethesda, the relationship that Microsoft had with Bethesda and using that to be like, hey, bring over, first, of course, Morrowind, which was on the original Xbox, if I remember correctly, and then Oblivion, which is time-wise would have been around, I think, the launch window of 360, if I remember correctly, or was it maybe just it came out on the console at a later date? I can't remember exactly maybe how it worked,
I
but
feel like it was in
I
about
think it,
March, I think,
yeah,
but I'm sure I
it
remember buying it
was,
on launch day, something like
yeah.
that.
yeah.
So
So,
yeah,
because the console came out in November, yeah, obviously, with 20th year anniversary. So,
yeah,
it wasn't too long after launch.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I was fairly certain. I remember it being like a close to launch title, and so yeah, Oblivion for me was big deal. I loved Morrowind, and thus being able to then start playing those games on console was a big deal.
Ta-da.
Yeah, there it is.
We have
Uh,
props, ladies and gentlemen. Like,
Yay. Yeah, fantastic
Look at
game.
that, a real septum.
yay, that's
Hey,
cool. I like
that's
that.
very cool. I love that.
In
That's
fact, I
very
have my
cool.
original game receipt.
Jesus Christ.
Hey,
You would tell us what day it came out if you could still read it, if it's not
how much were you
bleached
getting for trade-ins
beyond
back
all
then?
recognition. Like,
It'll tell you on the bottom of the receipt how much you'll get for trade-ins.
25th of March 2006.
Oh,
Just
yeah,
about.
that must have been close to day one.
I
It
mean,
was,
yeah,
Mhm.
March, that's pretty good. Not bad, huh? But yeah, so that would probably be me. That would probably be the sort of the launch window title for me that like captures that and again Fable. But again, I can't remember if Fable was that early as well. I don't remember. I just remember that obviously Fable started as an Xbox franchise in that respect. Uh, and brought other ones across like Mass Effect as well with their partnership with BioWare and EA and things. So they were doing some really cool stuff as far as the PC kind of shift or like I don't know the
wait,
cross.
well, Knights of the Republic, that was on the original Xbox as well. So they
Yeah,
had like, and that was Mass Effect 1 was long before EA got anywhere close to
hmm
BioWare.
yeah,
Um,
fair.
because I bought the collector's edition of that on launch day because I'm a massive BioWare fan. But I'm pretty sure that was 2007, I want to
It
say,
was. It
for
was.
the original Mass Effect. Yeah, yeah, I definitely got that. It was a
Yeah,
fantastic game. Love it.
there's some very cool things for PC games come across, Western RPGs, that sort of stuff. Yeah, big time.
I think a bit like you, Mark. I didn't play Call of Duty on launch, but the Xbox 360 was definitely the console that made me sort of like completely change how I played video games. Because we had a Super Nintendo growing up, and I played a lot of games on PC because my dad liked PCs. And then I had an Xbox, but I didn't actually have a lot of games for my Xbox. I played it a lot, but I didn't have a huge amount of games for it, so I couldn't really afford them. But the Xbox 360 was like, it was like a teenager had some money that I could go out and buy games. It was the big time for pre-owned games, so just going in and buying like three pre-owned games for like £15 or £20
hmm
in Game Station and just trying stuff out because you could afford them, and they were there. But yeah, one of the first games that I got for it after launch was Dead or Alive 4. And I'd obviously played fighting games like around at people's houses and stuff like that. But I think that was the first fighting game that I like properly owned for a console, and it had a great like training mode. So for every character, you could just run through their entire combo list in the training, and if you got it right, it would go to the next move. Um, and me and my cousin sat for like an entire weekend just maxing out every single character's like combo list in the training mode. It was very very fun. And I'm not going to claim to even remotely be good at fighting games, but I think if I hadn't got that for my Xbox 360, I probably wouldn't even pick up a fighting game to play. Whereas, I think I've got like something like 90 hours or something like that in Killer Instinct on my Series X, and I have like my fair share of hours in sort of a few Tekkens and Mortal Kombats and stuff like that since, which I've bought specifically because I'm playing that game very close to the launch of the Xbox 360. I think it came out in the December,
Hmm.
Dead or Alive 4.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was a cracker. And yeah, even stuff like Quake, I think was Quake 4 is probably the first, um, like, because I surprisingly enough I didn't own Halo on my original Xbox, so I think Quake 4 was probably the first person shooter that I played on console, as opposed like on a console that I owned, not on someone else's console, as opposed to playing stuff on PC. But yeah, what a time! And as you say, it was just like so much more. I think we have really good stuff now. Obviously, we've got the Discord and play a lot of games together, and with friends and stuff. But it was like the peak time for getting home from school and like getting the boys on. And like we played the entirety of Halo 3 like campaign, me, my friend Joseph, my friend Steve, and my friend Sean on 4-player multiplayer on Legendary. Like the week it came out, we were like, yeah, like we're home, like phone each other or text each other, being like, or even on MSN being like,
Yeah.
come on, boys, get on, like let's go. Like it's like the time for everybody having free time because they didn't have any responsibilities after school. Just getting the boys together and playing a full multiplayer campaign, which is something I feel like I would struggle to do now. Mm,
Definitely, yeah. I mean,
mm.
bouncing off of you both talking about ways it changed how like you played games or approach playing games. For me, it opened my eyes up to indies, which has been such a huge like shift in turn in like how I look at the games I enjoy and things like that. Because without Xbox Live Arcade, I wouldn't have had like experiences playing, you know, Castle Crashes and Braid and Fez and so many other titles. I don't want to just reel off a whole bunch of them because there's hundreds there, but like so many of those games, you know, I wouldn't have otherwise found because I wasn't a PC gamer. I was console since the moment I could hold a controller. I had played games on PC, but it wasn't my go-to, and I wasn't likely to go looking for these things. I wasn't the sort of person who was, deep into finding like, game files and just, boosting them up on an emulator or something like that. Um, I wasn't knowledgeable enough at the time. Absolutely, I'm barely knowledgeable enough it is now to do that. So, Steam, thank God it exists, and I can just do it on Steam, and it does it for me, which is great. But you know, back then, yeah, the option to go onto a whole marketplace of games, just all these icons of things that I had never seen before from studios I'd never heard of. And again, at a time in my life where, yeah, as a young teenager now, I was beginning to put together like, oh, the logos on the boxes I see are the developers who are these people who make the games. And I should pay attention to which logo is on which box because I know who they are. And it helped to kind of put a lot of things into perspective about like the games industry as a whole, actually, and understand that like there is AAA, there is indie, there's AA, there's all these different things. And like, what does it mean to be a self-publisher or to be or to have a publisher and all this sort of stuff. So it was a learning experience in a big way as well for me, as well as an opportunity to play just like the most amazing, creative, and otherwise like likely games I would have just missed, which is crazy to think. Explosion Man and what else was there? Limbo, for Christ's sake. Like,
Yeah.
just so many games that are so impactful and influential nowadays, and they just showed up on this little web, kind of browser kind of type thing, as an icon. You're like, hey, you want to check this out? It's like £5. I'm like, yeah, it looks fun, and it just completely changed how I, look for games I enjoy, and I have such a great appreciation for indie dev in particular, indie games and such. Yeah.
Well, I think the one of the highlights of the Xbox Arcade for me was Bastion, which is obviously
Yeah.
Supergiant's first game. You just like think about the fact that one, that is an absolute banger, and you can buy it on all platforms now, and you should play it. But
Yes.
like we've got Hades and Hades 2 that came out this year. They're like Game of the Year noms. Like people are so hyped for it. People are like always looking for what Supergiant's going to do next. And they started off on the Xbox Live Arcade with like a little, just a little isometric, like, I don't want to call it a hack and slash. It's not really properly a hack and slash, but
Yeah.
it's like,
Some action
yeah,
adventure, isn't it?
yeah, little action adventure with
Yeah.
their David, Logan Cunningham, who
Yeah.
voices like all of their really iconic characters. But
Yeah.
what I think of what, if not for the Xbox Live Arcade, like what would have become of Supergiant? I assume they're very talented people. They would have definitely still made it. You hope, but the games industry is very cutthroat, so maybe not. It's like, Xbox Live Arcade gave us Hades. That's my take. Like, that's my hot take of the
There you go. Yeah.
of the podcast. Like,
Super Meat Boy. You know, there's a lot
yeah,
on there.
yeah.
There's a lot on there.
Mm.
You know, yeah. That was only one of your articles, Mark. What about what's the second article?
Maybe we haven't got time for all three, but I think kind of that some of the things that we just spoke about maybe are a good kind of segue into an article that I titled "When Your Gamer Card Mattered," which I think is probably quite an important piece actually. And the kind of the narrative around this was the 360 was a time where there was kind of like one gaming space online, and your gaming card is important, and it kind of goes back to a time when you'd be sat in lobbies for games, and you would sit there, matchmake people, and you would just sit and look at their gamer cards pre-game, look at what achievements they've got, kind of like suss out the enemy. Has this guy got seriously on Gears of War? And if so, shit, do I need to back out now? You know, like someone who's got 10,000 kills, which at the time was just an insane achievement. And if you'd load up someone's game card and that they had the seriously gamer picture, you'd be like, oh my god, like, damn, we want this guy on our team. But I think when Xbox gamer cards were original around the 360, you felt like you had a virtual identity on Xbox. And I feel that kind of the way that things have gone and the online gaming community has kind of integrated crossplay, integrated Discord. I think that kind of like sense of Xbox identity is probably like fractured a little bit. And one of the things I put in there was around the original gamer pictures, and every single one of those is just instantly recognizable if you had an Xbox. And now with the ability, since the Xbox One time has been able to upload your own your own personal pictures, which is not a negative, don't get me wrong, but just that it didn't really feel like an Xbox identity anymore. It was just kind of moving away from being kind of something pretty unique to Xbox. So some of the pictures in there, Bubblegum Kid, who everyone none of these ever had a real name, but everyone just knew them as like Bubblegum Kid, or the black skull on the orange background.
Yeah.
You guys can probably know what I'm talking about just from me saying. But there's some really iconic pictures in here that, and I kind of created a bit of a narrative around how some of these kind of meant you were a certain kind of person on Xbox.
Yeah, I like your call out of as someone who had the pink haired anime cat girl. Thanks for the call out, Mark. Like, thanks for the absolute just red for filth on your article. And if you want to see what he's talking about, and you also had an anime profile pic, you're gonna have to go and read it. But it's also a very fun article, and you should anyway.
Not just for the call outs.
Not just for the call outs. No, yeah, no, I like, especially like your rep and things like that. And I think on that article, like, obviously the Xbox 360 was when achievements were introduced, and as we sort of touched on maybe slightly when we were talking about Raccoin earlier, I like it when things flash and make fun noise. And the pop of an achievement for the very first time, I was like, God damn it. Like, and I've been pretty much addicted to them ever since, I think I would say. But I do think it was a very good point in the fact that actually they do mean less now. And I've been trying to not get too focused on maybe not playing a game because I feel like I can't complete all the achievements over the last few years, because then I'll just fucking never play anything. But, like the original Xbox 360, we would be like, oh, well, one, we had significantly less access to games, so you would play the games that you owned for significantly longer. But yeah, it's just like, well, I don't like, I'm not playing with you. Like, your gamer score is trash. Like, or like getting into competitions. Like, I was in competitions with all of my friends, like who was going to hit like 100k first. It probably wouldn't have been 100k at the time, but like 50k first on their gamer tag. It's just like, because you didn't get like shovelware, was not easily done at all on the Xbox 360, and then you had it there on your gamer tag and your nameplate, and it was impressive if you had done it.
Yeah.
it was fun. Mm.
Yeah.
You're definitely right,
Yeah.
Mark. There was definitely like a feeling of like a sense of identity, and like, you're picking your avatar as well and stuff like that. So, you're kind of, you've got something that represents you in different ways, depending on whatever people are looking at you for, whether it's your gamer score, your general vibe, what games you've played. There's something there that people can look at and learn about you, and who you want to
Mm-hmm.
be in the sort of the gaming space. And yeah, there's less of that now, as you say, because it's kind of become more like homogenized and like kind of, spread to other platforms that, aren't gaming centric. So like you said, your discords and things like that. And it's kind of a shame, because yeah, there was always that feeling of like curating who you were. And maybe,
Mm-hmm.
I remember, it would be like, looking through each other's, achievements and being like, oh, you haven't got that one, I've got that achievement and stuff like that. And there was like a whole kind of, yeah, like a culture almost around it, to go, so far, maybe like a subculture almost, in that respect of like, you had things like Achievement Hunters, the YouTube channel, where, they would do all sorts of, fun competitions, and, have the guides and stuff like that. But one of the ones that sticks out to me was when two of the, like, the main members of it, Jack and Jeff, did a, oh no, sorry, not Jack and Jeff, Jeff and Bernie, um, of Red versus Blue fame and all that, from Rooster Teeth, did a competition of who could get, I think it was 10,000 gamer score in like a week. And like that is like a, that's, for whatever reason, that's like a firm memory in my brain of that like video they did covering that. And it was just like, short snippets of like Bernie coming around to Jeff's house to be like, what have you been playing and stuff like that, like comparing games and stuff. And he's like, I'm going to go on to this Madden because I could do this amount of gamer score in about this amount of time. And they're like, they're like properly try. It's like what the true achievement stuff is for today, with people doing all the competitions and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um,
but
which
it's
is,
so much easier now. It's like,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
like you could do that in. It's so sad to say, but you could do that in like an hour on current
yeah,
night, like 10,000 in an hour, and it's like, can we do it? Do we need that? I'm not saying that all games need to be super difficult and you can't get, but like, can we maybe get rid of shovelware? Just
Yeah.
you know,
yeah,
oh, we're going to put this up. It's got 1,000 gamer score that you can get in 5 minutes by not
yeah,
even engaging with anything, and then we're going to put out 4 title updates that auto pop 4,000 G worth of achievements onto your gamer card. And I'm like, I don't play games like that, but I know like quite a lot of people do because they are really into how much gamer score they've got. But for me, it's like, it is called an achievement. And I would like to feel like I have achieved something. I think there might be one or two on my profile due to previous True Achievements Great Achievement Score challenges because I didn't want to let the team down. It's a team-based event. I'm very like, but as a rule, even actually in the most recent True Achievements challenge, I was like, I'm not popping any shovelware. I refuse to do it. I will play a nice chill, like 1 or 2 hour easy game where you can get the 1,000 G just as part of playing the game. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
yeah,
But I'm not. Yeah, if it's 5 minutes and I'm not engaging with the game, then you're just asking me to pay $4.99 for gamer score. It's
Yeah.
pay to win, but you don't even win anything apart from like online street cred that presumably actually, as we were just discussed, means significantly less now.
hmm
Like
Mm-hmm.
someone's telling me they got 10,000 gamer score in a week. I'm like, okay, like
I'm gonna pump
I'm
those
not
numbers up.
impressed anymore.
Those are
Like,
those are rookie numbers.
well, yeah, like but I've watched YouTube videos about like
Yeah.
is it Mystic, the guy on PlayStation. He does. So, I don't think he did one this year, but he does his yearly like 30 platinums in 30 days, and he
Mm.
has a rule against like shovelware. So it's fun to watch, and you're like, oh, this is actually a challenge, especially
Mm.
because you've got work and stuff and like life in the way, because we're all in our 30s. but but yeah, it's like you could also easily do that in like a weekend if you were
Mm.
inclined to just give 3 shovelware companies like £100, and that's like pretty deepens the experience. I think for me, that's what I think.
Yeah, really watered down now. There's one I referred to in the article, and I remember I've seen the game on the Xbox Store before, and I've seen some of the achievement community talk about it. But you can get 2,000 gamer score on an Xbox One version, a Series X version, and a Windows version of the same game that you've got to buy 3 times. You just think like, man, like, come on, like, I'm all for an easy achievement from here and there, and I do have some dog shit on my gamer card. Don't want anyone to know that I've played, but man, like, you by that point you're just paying for gamer score, aren't you? And it's just kind of like devalued the value of what once was like really quite credible. And like you say, like 10,000 back then, like that was a milestone. If you had like 10,000 in the first year of 360, like you probably had more money than most people who had a 360 at the time, because you couldn't afford that many games. But I certainly could. I was in college, but it was a bit of a flex, 10,000 G back in the day.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking at that. I'm looking at that game that you highlighted, and I don't ever want to like disparage devs and stuff like that, but it does, like, the front page of it looks like the most AI generated image I've ever seen in my life. Like, and the fact that it's only being promoted as like, oh, this is easy gamer score. It's like, that could be a good game, like, but I'm not going to play it because you're marketing it as this is a way to pump up your gamer score, and I'm like, but why? Like,
But I mean, Xbox spoke about a few years ago. I think it was when I forgot to get the guy's name. One of the Xbox execs who's always criticizing Xbox these days. In his time.
Ibarra?
Yes, Mike Ibarra.
Yeah, chap who was at Blizzard, I think, as well.
Yeah, he was, wasn't he? But yeah, I remember during his kind of towards the end of his tenure, he was talking about an overhaul of the achievement system. But the reality is that's never going to happen because they make too much money out of it. Like, no one's going to buy these slot games if they get rid of the gamer score. So there's too much money in it. There's no incentive for the platform to get rid of it. It's just it's here to stay, and sadly ruins the achievement system, I think. But it was awesome back in the day. I generally remember being quite proud of my gamer score, even though it wasn't too high. It was higher than my mates, and that's all that mattered to me.
Yeah,
that was the big important thing. So
absolutely. I messaged my friend when I overtook him on Gamerscore for the first time. Sent him a text. I was like, haha.
Sucks to be second.
Sucks to suck.
Oh dear. Yeah. What a generation. I mean, the other article, I guess we don't have time for, but I can just kind of say what it's all about. And it's a documented thing anyway, and loads of people talk about it online regularly. But the Blades dashboard, just how what an upgrade we had when we entered the Blades generation from, console OSs until that point were simply what's on your memory card and how do you change the clock on your console. That's all that console dashboards were until the 360, and loading it up for the first time and seeing all these, these visually attractive menus. I mean, it didn't just look like a version of Windows, which it could have been. It just felt like a real gaming hub. And I think this is the first time that we ever had something like that. And it brought together your media, ripping CDs from CDs onto your console, playing. I remember I had a Ministry of Sound 2005, and that's all I listened to while I was playing PGR3, and that just makes me feel like a proper loser. But they were the times, man. But yeah, they were great. The Blades. I think functionally, the new Xbox experience was better. But the Blades, like what they did for kind of reinventing what a console OS could be, it's just fantastic. So yeah, we're What a time! What a time the blades were. I actually had a look on eBay the other day to see how much you can get a Blades OS console for.
Oh
Quite a lot.
wow.
Quite a lot.
Yeah,
I,
very.
I, I gave mine to my friend when I upgraded to the Slim. Like, I wonder if she still got it, because she probably would never have updated it.
Can I
Hold
have
on to
that?
an antique.
Um, I'd be like, no, give it, save that for Leo and Ivy's future. That's an investment.
Yeah.
Like,
Or something in 10 years' time, if it's still working, that'll be worth pretty penny.
yeah, it was a refurb because it was the original arcade, but it had red rings.
Mm.
So, but obviously they extended the warranty indefinitely for the original Xboxes because of the red ring issue. Like, mm.
Anyone remember Harry? I know you used to work at a game. The towel trick thing when they used to tell you to wrap your 360 in a
Yeah.
towel to
Yeah.
and like it actually strangely worked for some people. I mean, was I ever going to do that for the
Yeah,
thing
it
for
was
blow
such
my
a
parents'
dodgy
house out?
practice. But like, yeah, exactly. The word on the street was that like, oh yeah, man, if you do it, it fixes it. It works. I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like like blowing in the cartridge, back in the Sega Mega Drive days. That's one thing. But wrapping my console in a towel, come on, man.
Oh dear.
Parcel, parceled mine all up, sent it back to Microsoft, and they sent me a refurb. Like,
Yeah, there was all sorts of things, all sorts of tricks and things like that. But yeah, but that's it as well. Like it's kind of like it's fun to look back on because it was kind of the last generation as well of quite a few things that we just don't have as much of, or like we may still have, but it's just not the same. Where you know we still have couch co-op, but like the 360 generation was like the last one for like proper couch co-op sessions, I think, because like I have so many memories of playing through games like Portal 2 with like my best friend and stuff like that, and like all of that happened on the 360. Like none of that happened once we moved on to the Xbox One and PS4s and stuff. That was then all online, you know, pretty much. Um,
Yeah.
which is great. It's cool that we still have online, obviously, but like I miss couch co-op. Couch co-op was fantastic.
What a
Yeah.
yeah.
console. Yeah. Obviously, everything that's happened since is well documented enough in the success of Xbox, but obviously we don't need to go into that. But man, like it really was. It was special, and I couldn't have any more fond memories of that. What that console gave to me in terms of gaming, in terms of friendships, in terms of meeting people I never would have met otherwise. And yeah. Oh God, I'm gonna go get a tissue in a second.
Ah, all those great memories. The
Yep.
cheap headsets that we all got with it,
Oh,
that
I
we
had one of the ones that, well, it wasn't part of the headset, but did anyone else have the keyboard that you clipped into the base of the
yeah, yeah,
controller?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Where you
I
could
had
Yeah,
one
like
of
type
those.
still
stuff,
got it.
Yeah,
type messages to your friends. Like when I did my student placement at the job I have now, but in this flat, I had like a gamer chair that sat on the floor that my mum got me for my 21st birthday, and I remember coming home every day from work, putting three fish fingers in the oven. Um, Opening a beer, sitting down, firing up the Xbox 360, putting on Mass Effect 3, and messaging my friend Rory, being like, "Get online, we're playing the multiplayer," and then going back into the kitchen, making a fish finger sandwich, coming back through, sitting down, eating it, and then by the time I was done, he was online, and then we would just play it for the entire evening. It was so good, like just like evenings with the boys,
the best.
like. Yeah. And also, they should bring back the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer because it was so fucking good. Like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah. Oh man. Any final words you want to
So
say,
good.
Mark?
Um, oh man, I mean, I could probably go on all night really, but yeah, I guess it was, I think it left a lot of legacy. And I think one thing that the 360 really did well was it came in a position from being behind, and it launched a year earlier than the PS3. And that if it hadn't have done that, it wouldn't have had the success that it had, and it wouldn't have innovated the industry like it did. Xbox Live Arcade was a game changer, and we spoke about that a little bit already. Console accessories, Connect was so good on the 360 as well, and sold absolutely bucket loads. It was a really real big success, critically and commercially. Obviously, the sequel that came compulsorily packaged with the Xbox One was an utter disaster. Um, Even if functionally a very very useful tool that's even used in medical imaging and everything these days. But yeah, I think it just what it did was innovate, and I think that's what Xbox has now lost. They've lost the innovation and they've lost the will to take risks, and I think that's kind of well, in many ways, I think they have. I think the risks they're taking at the moment are questionable, but yeah, I think what they went because they came in a position behind PlayStation and finished on equal parity at the end of the 360 PS3 era. I think they just kind of lost it. And I think if they had finished a little bit behind, maybe things would have been different again. But yeah, great console, great times. A library sits and stares at me every single day. And yeah, great times. Great times.
I think it's just a little bit of the same innovation that they showed like at the start of Game Pass, because obviously they finished Xbox One so far behind. Like, it's like we'll do something new that is more fun for people. Like, it's better for people because like they were a year before the PS3, but the PS3 launch price was obscene. Like, it was just like PlayStation were so far ahead. They were just like, we can just do whatever we want. Whereas Xbox, again, they had like the core, they had the arcade, then they had like different price points and stuff for people. But yeah, as they've gone on with this generation, especially, I think it's more Microsoft and less Xbox. It's like, oh, I fired up the Xbox app on my PC the other day, and it was like, oh, enable Copilot to help with gaming, and I was like, I will throw this entire thing out of the window, and it's not even my PC's fault that you've asked me to do this. It's like, get that the fuck away from me. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want this. No one wants this. No one is asking for this. Like, much like the Kinect, keep this sort of stuff into medical imaging, things like that. I don't need it on my gaming like experiences. What is wrong with you?
Keep Gen AI and such out of gaming. Absolutely. Well, yeah. In that case, when we close out the episode with our usual segment, which of course is what we're looking forward to. I will say very quickly, it's already out. The one I'm looking forward to, it's a game called Constance. Came out at the beginning of this week. A 2D Metroidvania. Really, really gorgeous looking art style. I got a chance to play it when we went to Gamescom earlier this year in August. Really, really fun. Great traversal. Feels very smooth. Lovely animations and things like that. But also was quite tough, honestly. Like definitely an element of like difficulty in there with the platforming. But yeah, really, really hoping to find some time at some point if I can pull myself away from Davy Jones, and if I can stop, finish Ghost of Yotei and not play Ball Pit, and I'll hopefully find time to play a bit of Constance. So yeah, that's my pick. V, what are you looking forward to?
I am looking forward to the new Octopath Traveler that is coming out this time next week. It's coming out on the 4th of December. I haven't actually fully played the second one. I played the demo for it, but I didn't actually get round to playing it because, much like Harry's just alluded to, like, there's too many games and things take a lot of time. But I played the first one and I really, really enjoyed it. Like the combat system in it, like the boost break system and stuff like that's really fun. Finding out all the weaknesses, and your little team all having their own specific. Well, you obviously there's 8. If you didn't get it from the name, there are 8 characters in your team. But like they all have their own classes, but then they can like teach each other their subclasses and things. So you can like take your party and modify it and do what you want to do with it. It's a bit like very old school Final Fantasy, like more into the pixel art ones. Like I think played Final Fantasy 3 on my DS. And it had like the job system, and you just made everyone a dragoon. But it's very fun. And I know the second one has more of an intertwined story because the first one was sort of criticized for the fact that you have these 8 people and they have 8 stories, and actually the only thing that connects them together is a secret boss at the end. Just like, oh yeah, they're all there and they're all friends, probably. Who knows? But the second one did that a lot better, and it looks like the new one's going to do that much more as well. And they've added a bit of farming, a bit of cooking, a bit of life simmy things because you're rebuilding your town that was destroyed, and that's why you're also out in your quest for revenge. And yeah, just actually looking forward to get my teeth into like a good JRPG. Presumably we'll get to Punch God at some point, which is something that I very much enjoy. And I really like the art style of the Octopath series, that the 2D pixel art on the sort of like diorama-esque backgrounds and stuff. So very much looking forward to that. I'm sure the demo of it, because there's a 3-hour demo that's available that carries your progress over, will probably be featured in this month or next month's demo disc, as it was dropped at the whatever showcase it was dropped at, the PlayStation 1, I believe, early on this month. But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Fantastic. And Mark, bring us on.
Yeah, I think some of the kind of the early part of next year lineup seems to start to be trickling into the sphere. So the replaced, we seem to be getting some updates about that. But I think the one that I'm really looking forward to, and now fully expecting to hear some news at the Game Awards, is the remake of these Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. And man, the original was great. I remember having that on the PlayStation 2. Really cool time bending mechanics that were really kind of very game changing at the time for platforming games. So I had a really good time with the original. The remake, I don't know what Ubisoft have been doing with it. It's been in development for absolutely years. Not as long as the likes of Skull and Bones and Beyond Good and Evil, which God knows what they do with those as well. And Beyond Good and Evil, I don't think we'll ever see. But Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake is going to be launching within Q4 of this financial year, so we should see it by March. And yeah, super looking forward to that if we get a release date in the next few weeks.
Very cool. There we go. So with that, that's our closing segment, and that means the end of this week's show. Thank you two for joining me this week, and thank you all for listening and watching. Again, if you'd like more content like this today, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you have any feedback for us, or want to share some of your memories from the 360 era, some of your favorite games from the launch lineup, or maybe we missed out on a particular title that you feel like really kind of exemplifies the 360 era, share it with us in the comments. And please leave a like if you enjoyed the episode today. Again, everything we've talked about today, whether it's our articles or if it's anything else, frankly, that we may have covered that we reference, we will drop it in the description below alongside our socials and all the rest of it, so you can come and follow us, or the website. And again, please do go and visit the Gamer Social Club site over at www.gamersocialclub.ca to check out all of our work there. We cover the news, as I said, but loads of other stuff as well. We've had a couple of other reviews go up recently, including one for Possessors and Tori, as well as our Black Ops 7 campaign review, if you want to go and check all of those out. And plenty of other things, as I said, guides, editorials, Marks 3 that we've already brought up. They'll all be linked below as well. But yeah, that is the end of the show. So again, thank you everybody for joining for today, and we will catch you next time. So yeah, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, play some great games, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.